What's up, everybody, and welcome to part 2 of our lesson on ratios and proportions. Yesterday, or previously, we talked about what ratios and proportions were, and we also talked about, what did we talk about? We talked about how to show that two ratios are equal through a couple different methods. We learned how to show two ratios the same through reduction, and we also showed how to show two ratios the same through cross products, cross multiplication. So today what I'm going to work on is, or in this second part, what I'm going to work on is showing you how to solve a proportion when we have something missing. And I don't know if you can see that, that's coming through too clear or not, but we can see here in this example we have a variable. We have something that is unknown. So that is what we're going to really focus on this video. We're also going to look at some word problems, some real life problems. I know everybody loves word problems. They're like your favorite thing in the world. So I want to make sure we focus on a couple of those. And we're going to cover 3 examples in this video. And by the end, I'm hoping that you'll have enough knowledge and tools that you can complete the first assignment that I've sent out to you on Google Classroom. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and begin. And like I said, if you can't see that too well, always make sure you're reaching out to me through one of our methods that we talked about before. That's Skype, Google Hangouts, Facebook Messenger, email, any of those different forms. Okay, so the first thing we have here, we have x over 10 equals 3 over 5. If you can't see that, I'm looking at my screen, it looks kind of odd. So it's 3 over 5. So we're going to use cross products like we did yesterday or in the previous video, part 1, to actually solve this. We're going to set up an equation and solve the equation like we've done in previous lessons. So watch this. We take 10 times 3. 10 times 3 will give us 30 equals, and then we do x times 5, which will give us 5x, right? So now we've got 30 equals 5x. It's really 5 times x, so what you're going to do is you're going to divide both sides by 5. So cross multiply and divide. 30 divided by 5 is 6, and the 5's cancel out. So we have 6 equals x in this case, and it's solved. That's the end of the problem, right? Now, down here, you've got a little bit more complexity. You've got an entire expression, not just a variable. So we got to do a little bit of distribution as well as solve for x. So you have x minus 2 over 14 equals 2 over 7. We're still going to do cross products. We're still going to cross multiply, but the way we solve is just a little bit different. You have 14 times 2. 14 times 2 is 28. 28 equals, and then we're going to cross multiply this. Now, it's the entire expression that we have to cross multiply. So you really are going to take this 7 and you're going to distribute it to the x minus 2. I'm going to go ahead and write this in a couple of steps just so you can see what I'm doing. So 7 times x minus 2, or the quantity x minus 2, is really what it's going to be. Over here on the right side of the expression or the equation, we're going to take this 7, we're going to distribute it. So 7 times x and 7 times negative 2. Bring down your 28. 7 times x is 7x. 7 times negative 2 is negative 14. So we have the equation 28 equals 7x minus 14. We just need to solve for x. it's a minus 14. To move that minus 14 over here to the left side, you're going to do the opposite, which is add it. So plus 14 to both sides. 28 and 14 gives us 42. Bring down the 7x. So we have 42 equals 7x. And divide both sides by 7. Remember, we do that opposite because it's really 7 times x. The opposite of division is multiplication. 42 divided by 7 gives us 6. I'll move it over here. And your 7's cancel out. You're left with x. And in this case, we got the same answer for both problems, even though they're different kinds of proportions. 6 is x. Let's do another one of those, or a couple more, just so you're clear. So at this time, if you haven't got all this down, feel free to pause it. But I'm going to go ahead and erase this one, throw a couple more problems up there. And I hear my phone buzzing, which means somebody's trying to bother me. All right, let me pull up my next problem here, or next example. We have, so if you're following along with me from your sheet, I am in the middle of page 113, and I'm looking at guided practice, 3A and 3B. So let me go ahead and write these down. We have the proportion R over 8 equals 25 over 40. And also, I have x plus 4 over 5 is equal to 3 over 8. All right, let me throw this back up here. Okay, same idea that we just did, just two more problems. We're going to take this, we're going to cross multiply. So it's going to be 8 times 25. And then we're going to have r times 40. So 8 times 25 is 200. And for those of you who, your multiplication might not be so strong, you can use a calculator. It's okay. You're not going to hurt my feelings. But I always try to push you. Use your brain first if you can. R times 40 is 40r. Once again, that's basically 200 equals 40 times r. We're going to do the opposite of times 40, which would be divided by 40. Okay? The 40s cancel out over here. And 200 divided by 40, for those of you trying to do it in your head, another easy way to do this. These two zeros cancel out, and you basically have 20 divided by 4, and that'll give you 5. So 5 equals r in that case. Down here, cross multiply. We're going to have some distribution in there. So cross multiply both sides. 5 times 3 is 15. Equals 8 times x plus 4. We can go ahead and just write it like that, do that extra step. So we have 8 times x plus 4. Go ahead and take that 8 and distribute it. 8 times x, I'm going to just bring the 15 down. You have 8 times x, which is 8x. And then 8 times 4, which is 32. So we have 15 equals 8x plus 32. Take this 32, and we're going to move it over here to the left side of the problem. It's a positive 32, so we're going to subtract 32 from both sides. When you move it to the opposite side, you do the opposite thing. 32's cancel. Your 8x is going to drop down. Equals, and what is that? 15 minus 32, is that 17? 15 minus 32, yeah, that's 17, negative 17, sorry. This one's going to give you a funky fraction. That's okay. I just want to make sure I did that right. Yeah, I did it right. That's just a weird fraction. Yeah, it's good. All right, so we're going to still divide both sides by 8. And x equals negative 17 eighths. So like I said, you got a kind of an ugly fraction there, but oh well. It's the right answer. No problem there. So there's my two solutions. First proportion, we have 5 equals r. Second proportion, we have x equals negative 17 eighths. So as long as you're following the proper procedures, if you get a weird one like that, you're fine. Okay? All right. Let's move on. See what I got here. All right, if you're following along with me, excuse me. If you're following along with me, I am in the middle of page 113, and it's real world example 4. We're going to talk about rate of growth. Rate of growth. So let's take a look. We'll look at both of these problems. One's a retail problem, and one's a problem on exercise. So read them along with me if you have your page out in front of you. I'll go ahead and get rid of this, and then we'll talk about these last two problems, and then we'll be done. Like I said, I always like to throw in at least 1 or 2 real-world problems and 1 or 2 word problems, because I've seen your all skills in that, and I know you probably need a little bit of help. So it's always good just to throw a couple of problems up that people struggle with. The more you practice it, the better you're going to get, right? So this is example 4, if you're following along with me. And what do we got? It says, it's a retail problem. It says, in the past 2 years, a retailer has opened 232 stores. Looking at the world right now, I'm going to guess they're closing 232 stores. Anyway, they've opened 232 stores. If the rate of growth remains constant, how many stores will the retailer open in the next 3 years? So what it means by constant is that it's going to be 232 next year, 232 the year after that. The amount of stores that's going to be opening each year will not change. That's a constant rate of change. It's the same every year. So it says, let's let R represent the number of retail stores. So we got a variable in there, right? Where's our ratio? Go back and look at the information. What are our facts? That's what we do when we look at a word problem. So it says, rereading the problem, it says the retailer has opened 232 stores. So 232 stores. That's our first fact. Okay? It says in the past 2 years, though. So 232 stores in 2 years. Okay? There's our ratio. 232 in 2 years. We're going to set up a proportion here because it says it remains constant, so it's proportional each year. It's asking, how many stores will the retailer open in the next 3 years? So our unknown is the amount of stores over the next 3 years. So that's going to go up here. R will represent the amount of retail stores over the next 3 years. So there's your setup. Solving it's not going to be anything more difficult than what we just did. Cross multiply and divide. So 2 times R is 2R. Set that equal to 232 times 3. That's what, 696. So 2 times R equals 696. And then we are going to take 2 and divide it both sides. Right? 2's cancel out. And r equals, what is that going to be? 348. So we've got our solution. Now, just another good habit to get into. When something asks you in words, answer it in words, right? It's a word problem. So 348, let's just write a sentence. The retailer, the retailer will open 348 stores in the next 3 years. Problem solved. And like I said, getting into this habit right here, writing a complete sentence when you're given a word problem, that's a good habit to get into, just because if you ever take like a college entrance exam or a state test, an air test, something like that, a lot of times in the answer document they ask you to write it out in a complete sentence. So it's a good habit to get into, and it's just, you're talking about a real life situation. So, you know, if somebody came up to this on the streets and asked you something like this, you wouldn't just say 348, you would actually give them a sentence, right? They would think you're like a robot or something. So let's do another one of these, all right? If you're with me, I'm still looking at the lesson. Top of page 114 is talking about exercise. Top of page 114, we're talking about exercise. Once again, let me remind you, if at any time you want to pause the video to work on some of the assignment, kind of work with me, please do that. And if you have any questions, reach out to me. So the next situation, before I start writing, let's read it. It's talking about exercise. So it says, it takes 7 minutes for Isabella to walk around the gym track twice. At this rate, how many times can she walk around the track in a half hour? What are the facts? It takes 7 minutes for Isabella to walk around the gym twice. 7 minutes gives us 2 times around the track. There's our ratio. Set up a proportion. Question is, at this rate, right here, how many times can she walk around the track in a half hour? All right, so a half hour is 30 minutes. Our unknown in this case, how many times can she walk around the track? So I'll say, oh, I don't know, W for walking, okay? So in 7 minutes, she can go 2 times. In 30 minutes, she can go W times. Cross multiply and divide. So we cross multiply. 2 times 30 is 60. Cross multiply. 7 times W is 7W. We're going to have a funky number here. 60 equals 7 times W, so we're going to divide both sides by 7. And there goes my phone. Let's see. I'm going to ignore that for now. W comes down. And let's see. Let me pull up my calculator. What is 60 divided by 7? That gives me something weird, but let's go ahead and round it. I get 8.57. 142, it's an irrational number, so let's just say 8.6. And I'll get rid of these equals.
Hi, this is Haley with IH Credit Union. I was calling to speak with the Rudy.
Lovely.
We're just calling today to verify that we have the correct email address on file for you. If you could please give us a call back. My number is 937-390-1800. My extension is 40.
That's awesome. You get to hear my messages.
Feel free to leave a message.
All right.
With your email address. Thank you. Have a great day.
You have a great day too. Okay. So and you notice I got rid of the equal sign and replaced it with the approximate sign because we rounded. All right. So that's it for that problem. What I do want you to do though is, like I just told you, let's answer in a complete sentence. So it's Isabella, so we can say Isabella can walk about 8.6 times around the track. That's it. Problem's done. Okay. Example 5. Let's knock this one out, and we'll be done with this complete lesson, and you can actually start working on the assignment if you haven't started already. Last one, if you're with me, I'm in the middle of page 114. Middle of page 114, it says Real World Example 5. And we're only going to just do this example. We won't do the guided practice, because it's pretty similar to what we just did. All right. So this one says, if you're with me, let's switch that to example 5. Who's texting me? I'll get to that. All right, so example 5, we have, it says scale and scale models. And if you're not sure what a scale model is, think of like a Matchbox or a Hot Wheels car. Those little cars are, well, actually, let me see, do I have one over here? I've got enough crap. Oh, that's a perfect example right there. Let me show you what a scale model is. That's a scale model. If you've ever seen an arcade game before, or an arcade machine, this is a little version of an arcade machine. So this would be a scale model, and what that means is it's a complete replica. It's the same design and everything, just shrunken down, right? So if I was to take this, blow it way up to the size of an arcade machine, it would be proportionate. It would be the same correct size and spacing and design and everything, but this is the small scaled down version. So this would be a scale model, and that's what we're talking about here in example 5. Set my arcade game back up here. By the way, if you've never played Galaga before, play Galaga. It's an amazing game. All right, so it says mountain trails, talking about hiking. It says the Ramsey Cascades Trail is about 1 1/8 inches long. On a map with scale 3 inches equals 10 miles. What is the actual length of the trail? So it says 3 inches is equal to 10 miles. Okay? And then it says, what is 1 1/8 inches? So what is 1/8? I think that's 1/8. Come here. Oh, come here. 1 divided by 8 is 0.125. That's what I thought. So it's 1 1/8 is 1.125. I just converted it to a decimal in this case. It's a little bit easier. So that's 1.125 inches. And they want to know, what is that equal to in the real world? So we don't know how many miles it is, so we'll just say m miles. Should look nothing different than what we've done already. If 3 inches on the map is 10 miles in real life, then 1.125 inches on a map is m miles in real life. We're going to cross multiply. 3 times m is 3m. 10 times 1.125 is 11.25. We just move the decimal over 1. Divide both sides by 3. 3's cancel out. And what is that? 11.25 divided by 3, and this is going to be probably an approximation. Nope, 3.75. .75 miles. And I'm a little short on time here, so I'm not going to write my sentence, but write your sentence, okay? That's it. That's where we're at. So just a reminder, friends, on this lesson here, let me pull it up real quick. What is the lesson? The lesson, just to remind you, it is on ratios and proportions, and the assignment is, let me look at it, pull it up here just so I can remind you of it. You're supposed to complete the odd problems, 9 to 41. on page 115. So keep going down this lesson that we pulled these examples from. 9 to 41, odd problems only. So 9, 11, 13, 15, and so on. Don't do all the problems. And if you're not able to knock out the entire lesson, I'm not going to freak out. But please do as much as you can. Reach out to me if you need help, if you want me to guide you. I'll be happy to stand here and do a dozen problems with you. If you want to reach out through either Skype or Google Hangouts or Facebook Messenger or any of those methods, I'll help you out. But it's 9 to 41 odd on page 115. Please ask for help if you need it. I want you to work hard. Let me see, pull this up. Yeah, work hard. I'm here to help you. That's my job. I want to help you. I'll be here all day. So make sure that if you need the extra help, you come and talk to me, reach out to me any way you can. And I hope you're all staying safe. I hope you're all having a decent time at your homes. It's a nice day out, so enjoy it if you can, but social distance and all that good stuff. And if you need anything, give me a holler. All right. Best of luck, everybody. I hope you do well on this, and stay tuned. I'll be posting some more videos in the future. All right. Take care.